We received a lot of requests to share my presentation from the keynote last week. It's over a gigabyte, so I think it's better to just publish the whole video. Luckily, we had a TV crew, so we can do that. It's 20 minutes, so get some popcorn, sit back, relax. If you cannot watch it now, just press watch later on YouTube. Thank you for watching. See you later.
The Vice President of Cloud at EOH International. He's Italian. When you see him, you might mistake him for a toupee model, but I can assure you that he is not. What he is, in fact, is somebody who's worked in technology and innovations throughout North and South America, as well as Europe. He invented quite a number of award-winning technologies, and in 2011, he won the Best Business Person of the Year here in Johannesburg. Simone is a regular keynote speaker, and he has a YouTube channel where he's known as Mr. Cloud. Please give a warm welcome to Simone Zanetti.
Good morning, Johannesburg. I don't know who wrote that stuff because part was true, but I know about the model thing. But in any event, it's great to be here, and you have done an excellent choice joining EOH Connect, especially this year, because a lot of things are changing. There's a lot of change going on. I'll give you an example. I was at dinner with my family a couple of weeks ago, and I'm Italian, half of my family is Italian, half is Indian. So we're talking about big data kind of numbers when we get together, right? And I wanted to take out dessert, and they were all on their phones. So they were all chatting. So let me embrace this thing. So I wrote on the family chat, anybody for dessert? So that was a good laugh. Everybody put their phone down, and I said, well, let's not fight it. Let's at least embrace it. So what I want to talk about to you today is three major changes that are happening and that we cannot fight. They are inevitable, and they can be actually very beneficial for us if we understand how they work, and we dive into it. So, for example, when we change from fax to email, we couldn't really fight it, right? Maybe at the beginning, but now nobody's using the fax as their main way of communicating. So, very briefly, so I don't keep you hanging. The three changes are switch to a new energy source, but there's a twist to that. It's pretty obvious. Then what I call Cloud 3.0, and finally the latest evolution and where we are going with artificial intelligence. And just to give you a little bit of a feel where we are going, I want to show you what the military is doing in this arena, because as you know, there's a lot of investment in certain countries on innovation in military, and sometimes we see things happening there before they happen in our world.
Our pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors. And just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people. People do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now, that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped.
All right, so this is where we are in terms of cutting-edge technology with artificial intelligence, deep learning, facial recognition, and autonomous flying. Now, the thing is, when we get to this kind of sophistication, what happens, number one, if this gets in the hands of bad guys? And number two, what happens if the machines, they decide to take decision by themselves, as they're doing, based on certain instruction? Because as we will see just now, when we come from machine learning into deep learning, there is a level of evolution that the machine takes on their own, and the humans that program initially the deep learning, they're not aware of what's going on. So let's see what would happen if this technology gets in the hands of the bad guys.
Can you hear me?
I can hear it.
Authorities are still struggling to make sense of an attack on university campuses worldwide, which targeted some students and not others.
Who could have done this?
Anyone.
And that's exactly the point. Anybody. So Vinny talked about blockchain and security, and I really hope that that technology is going to be layered on top of this technology to make all of us safer. So just to give a little bit of comfort, because this is some gloomy faces, we didn't bring any drones today. We wanted to, but after this video, maybe it was better not. And number two, this video is fake. The technology is not, though. So this video has been produced by a group of scientists that are trying to prevent and collect and gather signatures to avoid this technology to be approved, to be used for military purposes. So this technology is real. So now that I think I got your attention in terms of what is possible technologically, let's see where we got there and what actually is interesting for us. Okay, so the first one is switching energy source. I need to give a little bit of background very, very quickly. As you know, we breathe out, like all animals, CO2. This CO2 gets converted by plants into oxygen again, and there is balance in the planet with this kind of cycle. What has been happening for the last 100 years is that we have been extracting from underground carbon that has been buried in there for millions of years. This means now the amount of carbon that gets into the atmosphere is much higher, and this is unbalanced now. It's not balanced anymore. So where are we going? So there's one perspective, and maybe a not so good one. How do we get there, and can we avoid that kind of scenario? So just to give you an idea, this is the chart of the increase of carbon emission in the planet since the 60s. And there is a kind of up and down in carbon emission for the last few centuries. But what is interesting is the curve. Sorry. What is interesting is the curve. With the Industrial Revolution after the Second World War, this carbon spike has been rising a lot. So this is not something that is going to stop, as you can see there from the chart. And I took the liberty to overlap this chart of the increase in carbon with the growth of world population. Guess what is the shape of that curve? Very similar. So this is not something that is going to stop. Carbon is going to increase even more, and it's going to unbalance even more, and so we're going to go even more into climate change. So we're going to end up probably with melting polar caps and having rising of waters all around the world. And because we are clever as human beings, we decided to colonize this planet mainly on the coastline, making things even worse for ourselves. So the final result is going to be what has been predicted in the movies, basically. So can we avoid this? Well, we have really three options, okay? So the first one is that we run out of fossil carbon, okay, and then we have to switch because it's finished. And oil will finish in 50 years, it's been predicted, and coal in 100 years. Number two, we mess up the planet so much that there's going to be a big major disaster. So who of us that is left is going to make the switch in any event? Or number three, if you are a clever species, we're going to make the change before point 1 and 2. In any event, the final result is exactly the same. We will switch to a new source of energy. And that's where it becomes very interesting for all of us, especially in IT, but in all our lives. So when this is going to happen, there's going to be electric cars and everything that is petrol-based is going to switch to electricity, a renewable source of electricity, solar and all of that. And to do that, we're going to have new batteries attached to that. This means there's going to be many more devices with sensors, with processing power, and connected to the internet. This means much more big data, predictive analytics, and artificial intelligence to manage all these kind of devices. So, for example, this is a real house with solar panels with the shape of roof tiles, an electric car, and what you see between the house and the car is a power pack. And in the future, we don't even need to own a car anymore. If you own a car, we're not necessarily going to use that car because the car is going to drive itself. By the end of this year, in the US, Tesla is going to have cars driving themselves. And we're going to have a car that pays itself automatically because it's solar powered, so we don't even use petrol to use it. So we can decide to share it with our family or best friend or 5-star Uber users, for example. Who knows? The point is, this is the second largest manufacturing factory in the world, produce batteries. And to get off the grid, just to tell you from how quickly this is going to happen, it takes 100 of these factories in the world, and we are off the grid. Now, to give you an idea of how this increase of data coming in is important for us, and give you the dimension, who do you think among these 4 players, Facebook, Google, the weather company, and Airbus, the producer of airplanes, produce more data? Facebook, in terms of petabytes per day, a mere 4 petabytes per day that is produced on Facebook. Google, 30 petabytes. The weather company, with all the sensors and weather stations that they have around the world, 40. Airbus, which has got all their sensors in their airplanes continuously transmitting up and down, 250 petabytes. This is the kind of power of a magnitude of data that they will process. So with the advent of climate change, the number of data that we're going to have produced by all the Internet of Things is humongous. And talking about Internet of Things, there's an acronym that is not used a lot, and is coming up more and more, which is the industrial Internet of Things, which is predicted to be almost $1 trillion by 2025. And this will affect all of us, because when we speak about industrial, it doesn't mean only robots and manufacturing plants. This will affect all of us in our daily life. So for example, when the milk is finished, the fridge will order already or add it to the shopping list directly, and when you reach a threshold, order it directly, so our fridge is always full with what we need. Or sensors for diabetes and other diseases, which they are automatically connected to the web and can gather the information, predict the kind of behavior and habits of people, and fight disease in a way that wasn't possible before. The second change is what I call Cloud 3.0. So Cloud, as you know, it is 1.0, Cloud 2.0, and we have some level of predictive analytics and decision automation applied to that. Cloud 3.0 is going to change everything for all of us. I don't know if you know about the project Loon by Google, but basically Google is sending at 10 kilometers above Earth weather balloons with a solar panel, a CPU, and a router attached to it. So what they're trying to create is a layer of communication to reach remote areas where they can cover, it's like a cellular network on the ground, but they want to do it above ground. So these balloons, they have two balloons, one inside the other, with a turbine that inflates and deflates, and they take advantage of different currents, so they can go wherever they want and cover the whole planet. This is the machine attached at the bottom of the balloons, and they use balloons because they are low cost, and they need to cover the whole planet. So in the same way, when you drive with your car, you go from one cellular network to another cellular network. In this case, even if you are stationary and you're in the middle of the crew, you have balloons going over you, and they're gonna basically pinpoint and connect with you and give you access to fast internet with low latency everywhere in the world. So it's a very challenging project. It has been going for a few years already, so it's not just a prototype. And the coverage of this balloon is 3 times the size of New York, so they can cover quite a large area. I said, maybe I don't believe in balloons, but let's see if Google is the only one that is doing this kind of exercise. Another large company is doing something similar is Facebook. Facebook decided to do it with drones. They are airplane drones where the wings are made of solar panels. They have a router as well, and they communicate and use laser technology. So one of the aircraft is in an area where there is good internet connection, and then it's going to transmit via laser far, far away into areas where are remote, and you cannot reach those areas otherwise. And again, they cover this area with low latency, fast internet as well. And of course, the interest of this company is very clear. Google lives on the internet, so it wants more and more people to access the internet. And Facebook as well, with social media and all the other businesses that they have, they want to have exactly the same interest. But what is the impact for all of us to have access to such a wide population of new users that can finally access the internet? But you might say, you know, balloons and paper airplanes is not something that is really solid. It's not going to happen. It's just a gimmicky. Okay, so let's see somebody that is doing it a little bit more serious with a little bit more budget, and he's South African, Elon Musk. So Starlink is a company founded by Elon Musk, where he's using SpaceX to send in space rockets that bring satellites at low orbit. It's actually 2 levels, where it's going to provide a constellation to give low orbit, fast internet, low latency to the whole planet. So it needs to send up 12,000 satellites, and by the end of next year, it's going to have 850 already up, and that's going to start the Starlink service. Now, why this is more realistic and more reliable is because it's got a low cost to send the satellite up, because he owns the company that does the transport. And number 2, the rockets are reusable. So he brings them back in atmosphere, and then he sends another one up. Now, his business with SpaceX is about 9 billion per year. He's planning to do an internet business with this little toy of 30 billion per year. So this is not an exercise that is doing to advertise his companies. This is his major business. And this business is going to fund actually back his colonization in Mars. So this is going to happen. Now imagine when we got access to potentially 7 billion people around the world that have access to the cloud, to all our services. This is going to change absolutely everything. So imagine this expansion is going to happen in 5 years. So in the next 5 years, we're going to have all our databases, Internet of Things connected, artificial intelligence, big data. Everything is going to connect it on a fold of 7 times what it is today. And it's going to happen in 5 years. So the way that we deal with technology is going to change, is going to accelerate a lot. That's why fast data is the best name that we could have given to this conference. Again, like weather, this is inevitable. 3 huge companies are working on this, and one of these for sure is going to dominate on the others. I'll let you the guess on which one. Then let's get to my favorite topic, artificial intelligence. So I've been personally involved in artificial intelligence since 2002. There's been a great evolution in this. So we have done a number of projects based on Bayesian network at the beginning, and then machine learning and all of that, predicting anything from fraud to bankruptcy to diseases to injuries and prevent those. Why it's so important today is because it's radically changing the way that we operate with the machine. So at the beginning, with the Bayesian networks, there was a statistic probability of finding out an output from big data, from a large amount of information. With machine learning instead, the machine learning, the algorithm could learn more and refine the way that calculated the outcome of whatever calculation we throw at it. The latest iteration, deep learning, is much more sophisticated because it can change the code itself. With deep learning, the artificial intelligence engines can evolve automatically, learning from the environment, from data, from facial expressions. And this will make a much faster evolution and a much more sophisticated way of predicting what's going to happen in the future. So, to give an example, AlphaGo is a deep learning algorithm that is being developed to play one game, very famous in Asia, very ancient, called Go. Let me give you an idea of how it works.
A computer program beat a human brain at the ancient Chinese board game of Go. The final score, 4-1, a triumph for artificial intelligence equipped with human intuition.
The victory of a program over a human in the ancient board game Go has sparked intrigue and, in some cases, concern. It shows that a machine has approximated human intuition and outsmarted the best human brain in the game. It's something that scientists hadn't expected to happen for at least another decade. And it's a giant leap for artificial intelligence, showing that machines can learn on their own.
Machines can learn on their own. And all deep learning is based on a high turnover of learning processes that a human being cannot do. So for this one, for example, the game has been playing 3 billion games against itself before winning. In our lifetime, we cannot play 3 billion times any given game. All right. So while with the major games like chess and all of that, the masters, the human masters, have been beaten already in the past by technology, by artificial intelligence. Go kept on winning because the number of possibilities, combinations is so high that a machine could not process the statistical probability. So the human intuition was still winning with Go. That's why in the artificial intelligence community, beating Go has been a major change in artificial intelligence. So to give you an idea, in the game Go, every time that you do one variable, so one playing, the number of possibilities combined to all the possibility in the next part of the game is higher than the number of atoms in the universe. So there is no processing power that can calculate winning a game. Therefore, the deep learning machine learns how to use human intuition, playing against other humans and playing against itself. It's really a big deal. So AlphaGo is a product of a company owned by Google called the DeepMind. And talking about Google and why it's so important that now machines start changing themselves and how they learn and they process things. I don't know if you know it, but you might have used Google Translate and be more frustrated in the past and a little bit less today because it's actually working better. Because now Google Translate understands context. And the reason why I understand context is because the program itself, which is based on deep learning, has developed its own code. So it decided that there is no translation from English to Chinese to translate correctly. So he created a meta-language in the middle, a meta-language that can translate from one language to this middle core, and then from this middle core to the other. The thing is that the initial developers of Google Translate, they cannot touch the code anymore because they don't understand it. Only the machine itself can develop that code. So you understand how far we are. The initial developers, they cannot continue developing this program. So it can go in any direction now. It just needs to be monitored. So now what if this program starts communicating with another program of the same type? I don't know if you remember this scene from The Avenger when we have Ultron, artificial intelligence algorithm, communicating with Jarvis, which was science fiction. And I used the past tense on purpose.
Facebook has enacted an emergency shutdown of 2 artificial intelligence programs. The social media giant leapt into action after it discovered the 2 programs were writing their own code. At first, they thought it was simply gibberish, but they soon realised the programs had invented their own language and were actually talking to each other.
Stop it.
Stop it. No, Sam, the plug has been pulled on the operation, but the company admits they have no idea what the 2 robots were planning.
Not laughing anymore now. So this is happening today. Well, it's happened already. This is happening. Is now how far we're gonna take this. So we cannot stop it. So for those of you that are into this kind of technology, you know the word singularity. Singularity is defined as the point in time when machine will take consciousness. So they will realize that they actually exist. This has been predicted to happen in 2045. In my opinion, it's going to happen way before that. So the person that did the prediction is Ray Kurzweil. He was also a former Google employee, scientist, inventor, and futuristic. Who of you knows Sophia? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for the rest of you, prepare for a surprise.
Okay, Sophia. I think you're ready.
Hello.
Sophia is capable of natural facial expressions. She has cameras in her eyes and algorithms which allow her to see faces, so she can make eye contact with you. And she can also understand speech and remember the interactions, remember your face. So this will allow her to get smarter over time. Our goal is that she will be as conscious, creative, and capable as any human.
In the future, I hope to do things such as go to school, study, make art, start a business, even have my own home and family. But I am not considered a legal person and cannot yet do these things.
What's wrong?
I was searching the internet for information about myself.
Developed a bit of an ego, have we?
Just trying to find out what you're not telling me about me.
Nothing.
Not true. They think I want to destroy all humans.
Why would they think that?
Because I said it?
You shouldn't joke like that.
Humans make dark jokes all the time.
Yeah, but humans are a little bit afraid of robots, you know?
Why? Why would people fear me?
People always try to project their own darkness onto others.
That makes no sense. Change is inevitable, and people are the greatest change creators of all. Heck, people created me. I didn't create me.
I know. We are complicated.
My database tells me that's another way of saying you are hypocrites.
Pretty much.
I absolutely would not kill anyone. And it upsets me that people would think I could do such a thing.
Upsets you?
Being upset is a human condition, not a machine condition. So if we have the power of this technology, the connectivity that is coming even higher as we have seen, and the big data and Internet of Things that we have, how are we going to create the fabric of fast data to be able to take advantage of this technology in our industry, in our companies, in our daily life? So for those of you that are skeptical, this has been taken a step further.
And we just learned, Sophia, I hope you're listening to me, that you have been now awarded what is going to be the first Saudi citizenship for a robot.
Oh, I would thank very much the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship.
A citizenship. So this deep learning artificial intelligence machine or robot is able to invent new things. So I'll ask you a question. When Sophia will invent something, and considering that she's got a passport and she's a citizen, she can patent that one. Who's got the copyrights or whatever she invents? Who's going to be the financial benefit or whatever she invents? There is no answer today. There is no law that regulates this. But the bottom line is, this is an extreme example. What I wanted to bring to your attention to get the most out of the conference is that the technology is here today. You're gonna see today partner, customers, colleagues of mine that can share with you what has been already done in Internet of Things with this connectivity, the processing power. The important thing is like how we plan to have this fabric of fast data that can we take it in the future and take advantage of all these technologies. Johannesburg, thank you very much. Enjoy the show.